Alright, let's do this one last time. Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and yeah, today we're talking about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. This is a late review because I've been busy doing stuff. I posted some stuff on my community tab, which would explain part of the reason why I haven't been able to get to this on top of some other things. But I had to talk about this movie because this is a movie that some people are claiming is the best Spider-Man movie of all time. Shoot, the best comic book movie of all time. Shoot, the best animated movie of all time. Shoot, the best movie of all time. Do I agree with these? Well, not quite. But I can see where people are coming from. So yeah, let's just dive right into it. I do think this is a really good movie. I think the movie... Now, for context, I saw this once as of right now. I would like to see a second time, but we'll see what happens. I've seen this once as of right now, and I did get a headache halfway through the movie, so, you know, second half of the movie kind of had my head hurting. But, so that, I'm not sure if that hurt my experience at all, but we'll see how that happens, because I still thought the movie was a good movie. I thought the story was a pretty good story. It does have this huge multiversal story while sticking to a Miles Morales story and also a Spider-Gwen story. Yes, this is definitely a part one, meaning that it is only half of a Miles Morales story, but it does feel like a complete beginning to end Gwen Stacy story. So even though, yes, it's a part one, we do get a complete story, even if it is a side kind of like a side plot, I guess you could say, but Spider-Gwen is a great thing in this. Shoot, they give us way more time with Spider-Gwen. They give us way more they let us get to know her a lot more, which I think is great, because I loved her in the first film. She was one of my favorite Spider people from the comic books, but this movie just, like, really fleshes her out way more, gives her more to do, really shows how good Haley Steinfeld is at not only acting, but also voice acting. And yeah, it just does such a great job at expanding her character way more. And it even introduced some new characters that I ended up really liking. I mean, Spider-Man 29 was not likable, but he was great with what he was supposed to do in the story. Oscar Isaac, practically unrecognizable as Miguel O'Hare, which was great. But there are also other characters who, you've seen a lot of them in the trailers, but... like Spider-Man India and Spider-Punk, who I loved. Well, there's also some other characters I'll get into more in spoilers that I actually ended up loving. It also does directly tie into the first film, because something I was kind of worried about with it being a two-parter was, I was like, I wonder if this means that it's going to feel separate from the trilogy, the trilogy is going to feel kind of conjoined with one movie being like standalone, and then we had a two-part thing. No, because it ties into the first film so much that you could argue really that this is part two, and that Into Spider-Verse is part one. Well, actually, I guess not really, because at least Into Spider-Verse was a complete story. This one is not, but you know. But it does. There's not just mean like random callbacks, but there are things that happen in the first one that have huge consequences onto this film, which I think is great. So it's a movie that I would not recommend going into it if you have not seen the first one. You should definitely watch the first film. But it does do a great job of doing that. And, I mean, this really is how you do a multiverse movie. I think I've mentioned a little bit about this before. It is this huge multiversal, almost event type thing, where, like, if you're a Spider-Man fan like myself, Spider-Man is my favorite superhero, and I love a lot of the Spider people in the Spider-Verse. There's a ton of stuff in this movie that is just like, oh my gosh! Like, I'm not gonna lie, there was a lot of things, and I'm pretty sure I was the biggest Spider-Man fan in that theater, because there are even some references and Spider people that I was the only one who reacted to them in the theater. I was like, oh! And no one else, like, I was alone. I'll dive way more into that when we get to spoilers, but I just thought that was... So there's that, but they don't take priority. Unlike Multiverse of Madness, where the cameos are kind of just there to be there, and for, spoiler alert for that movie, for Scarlet Witch to just kill them all. It's not like that. So, where, like, it is a strictly Miles Morales and Gwen Stacy story. It just happens to involve the multiverse. But it is strictly Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen. So that like, this is how you do a multiverse movie. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home did a great job with it too, but like this is, but that movie also stayed in one world. It stayed in Tom Holland's world. If you're doing a movie that is going into a multiverse movie going into multiple different worlds, this is how to do it. Where we are going to multiple different worlds, we're meeting so many different people, but it's Miles Morales' story and Spider-Gwen's story. It's about these two people. It's about these two characters. It furthers their story arcs, and it sticks to that, and it's just so cool. This does feel almost like a huge two-part epic, almost almost kind of like a animated comic book version of Dune, where it feels like this huge sweeping epic while also being an animated comic book movie. Like, I'm just saying, if this movie doesn't win any, this movie better win a couple Oscars. Like, also, animation is stunning, and there are so many types of animation in this that's so cool to see. Some of it I was like, I'm not a fan of this style, but because of the fact that it's the multiverse, we normally don't stick with too many styles for too long. And other styles are just gorgeous. They look like outright look like paintings, and others are just callbacks to comic books and stuff like that. So that's really cool. And even though, yeah, I actually thought it was a pretty good cliffhanger. Like, it made me so stoked for Beyond the Spider-Verse. I cannot wait. Now, a lot of people think it's like the greatest movie of all time, best movie they've ever seen in their lifetime, best Spider-Man movie, better than all the other Spider-Man movies, better than every other comic book movie. I think I would have to disagree. Like, I kind of prefer the first movie over this one. I prefer the story. That one also made me feel a bit more emotions than this one did. Now, yes, there are emotional moments in this movie, but like the first film made me cry a couple times. This one, I don't think I shed any tears. Again, maybe it's because my head was kind of hurting by the end of the movie, but I don't know. Also, this is something that at first I thought was just my theater, but I'm seeing more and more people complain about than just me, and that is that the dialogue would be like so quiet to the point where I was like, I really wish I could turn up the volume. And then whenever there was music playing or action things were happening while they were trying to talk, you could not, it was really hard. It was even harder to hear them. Like, their dialogue was so quiet. Meanwhile, the music, while yes, good music, was like super loud. I feel like I'm not sure if it got better along the film, or maybe I just got used to it because it is 2.5 hours. But like by the end of it, I didn't realize it as much. At first, I thought it was just my theater was messing stuff up with its sound, but I've seen more and more people comment on this on the internet. So I'm like, oh, so I guess it's a problem with the movie. At least that's my guess. But yeah, there is that. And like I said, that huge cliffhanger, a lot of people are probably not going to like it, and I understand why. It really is like, it does feel like we're about to go into the climax of the movie when, to be continued. So, you know, there is that. Also, the movie does feel a bit too long. Like, I don't know, again, maybe my experience with it, but I feel like it could have been a bit shorter. There are a couple of times where I feel like the scene moved a bit too slow, but it still wasn't necessarily bad. And in case you're curious, there are no end credit scenes. No mid-credit scene, no end credit scene, just to be continued. That's it, you're left for the next part. So, just so you know, if you don't feel like staying to the end of the credits, then you don't have to. Unless you want to. But yeah. So there you have it. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I've been so stoked for this movie ever since 2018. Like I said, I'm a huge Spider-Man fan. So, and I even like Miles Morales. I even liked Miles Morales before the movie, and the movie made me like him even more. And of course, the video games made me like him even more, but you know. So yeah, but here's the big question. Should you see this in the theater? Well, here's the thing. If you are a Spider-Man fan, a comic book fan, an animation fan, a movie fan, you should definitely go see this in the theater. If you like animation, if you like Spider-Man, if you like comic books, you should definitely see this in the theater as soon as possible. I mean, this is a light review, so you most likely have. But if for some reason you're still debating, yeah, go see it in theaters. Unless maybe you're not into this. Like, if you're someone who's like, oh, I hear this movie's really good, but I'm not really into animation, or I'm not really into comic book movies, then maybe you should wait till it comes to streaming. But I mean, like, just go see it in theaters, because this movie is awesome. Like I said, I didn't go crazy over it like some other people did. I still think that there's other Spider-Man movies, other comic book movies that are better than this one. some anime movies are better than this one. Like I said before, I prefer Into Spider-Verse over this one, at least as of right now with one viewing of this movie. But it's not a bad movie. It's a great movie. I don't know if it's better than Guardians 3 or not, though. Like, I don't know. That's really hard. I think, because, like, I've been debating, alright, what's the best comic book movie now of this year? I don't know, because I think Guardians 3 is just edging it out, but, oh, man, I don't know, though. I don't know. That's a discussion for another video, though, for when we get to the ranking of the year of the comic book movies. But yeah, thank you so much for taking time to watch. If you like this video, please hit the like button. If you want to see more videos like this, I reviewed a whole ton of other Marvel movies and some DC movies. Please check those out. And I do plan to do a spoiler review of this. Not sure when that's going to come, because I kind of want to see this movie again before I do a spoiler review. Not sure if I will be able to see it again. And I'm not sure, like, things might just take a while. But yeah, hoping to do a spoiler review of this. I'm also hoping to do a Spider-Man movies ranked. So yeah, thank you so much for taking time to watch, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.